Prince Harry.
I am tremendously honored to be UN Women's advocate for political participation and leadership.
And don't forget that you are proving to the world that anything is possible.
If anyone is up to marrying the public and private and still present an authentic self, I think it's Meghan Markle.
I think they have a lot in common, actually, and I think it's that passion and desire to help.
I think Harry's got such a personality and such drive and such kindness.
I perceive Meghan to be an amazing talent. You know, she's a catch.
Duchess Meghan. I think that's amazing. I mean, it's a fairy tale. It really is.
It just brings that kind of good feeling back, isn't it? That, you know, anything is still possible and magic can happen.
This is a modern love story between two young people, but at the same time, there is something so entrancing about Hollywood to Princess.
She could almost be our window into that world now, and I think that's how a lot of people probably see her.
Both in their 30s and clearly very much in love. But what does this young couple from very different worlds have in common as they embark on the next extraordinary chapter of their lives together?
Finally, the world's worst-kept secret is out. The eligible bachelor, Prince Harry, is engaged to marry American actor Meghan Markle. Having met in 2016, their relationship is relatively new.
They've both got a bit of life experience. They've had quite a lot of opportunity to discover who they are as people. And then they've come together as a couple and met each other on those terms.
They seem to understand each other and each other's lifestyles and the commitments of both sides. And once you have that understanding, that's wonderful. So yeah, he's ready.
It was in September 2017 at the Invictus Games in Toronto that the couple stepped out officially, leaving no doubt of their romance.
I think it spoke volumes about who they are and how they plan to go about their life together. It looked casual, it looked relaxed, it looked happy, it looked normal, and that's not something you see every day with the royal families, and especially not with royal romances.
They seem very, very happy. She is very beautiful on the outside, and clearly the impression I get is she's very beautiful on the inside too.
When the right person comes along, everything just starts to make more sense. And in that respect, he definitely seems like he's found his one.
Harry and Meghan's backgrounds couldn't be more different. In September 1984, a prince was born, second son of the Prince and Princess of Wales.
The Queen has said that she and all the royal family are delighted at the news. On the pavement outside the gates, the first celebrations got underway.
It was immediately announced his name is going to be Henry, and they're going to be known as Harry.
Born third in line to the British throne, it was soon clear as Prince Harry grew up that informality suited him.
Harry.
As the character of a fun-loving, outgoing boy emerged.
We went to Germany with Princess Diana to visit her regiment. Harry went with her, and he was going to ride in a tank. When the troop ran out, he ran out with them. And we knew then that he wanted to be in the army, in the military. And he was really, you know, all kitted up, all made up. And he absolutely loved it.
Aged 8, it was his first formal engagement. He was exposed to public life early, though his parents tried to provide Harry and elder brother William with as normal a life as possible.
All of reality TV now, the royals were like the first version of that. And it's almost like an upbringing that was 10 years ahead of its time.
Diana was an incredibly loving mother. What she really wanted was a comparatively informal childhood for the two little boys. to go out to theme parks and the cinema and fast food restaurants and to really have fun together.
I think Charles definitely instilled in both of his sons a love of the countryside, a love of the outdoors. I also think that Charles has instilled perhaps a sense of duty.
Prince of Wales taught the boys about Shakespeare and the opera, but Diana took them to the pictures.
But she also set a great example to Harry about using the royal position.
We have a battle on our hands. It has to be waged on two major fronts.
She really set the example of thinking about those who are less fortunate in society and how one should use one's royal position for the better of others.
There were no flags flying in Los Angeles to mark the birth of the bride-to-be, Rachel Meghan Markle, the only child of Thomas Markle and Doria Radlin.
So Meghan grew up in Hollywood, in Los Angeles. Her mother is a social worker who is also a therapist and yoga teacher. Her father was a lighting director and worked on film sets. And he was able to offer her a window into that world, and she was able to see from that what she wanted to do with her life.
Born in August 1981, 3 years before Harry, Meghan was also raised with a social conscience, as she revealed in a magazine article. My parents came from little, so they made a choice to give a lot, buying turkeys for homeless shelters at Thanksgiving, delivering meals to people in hospices, giving spare change to those asking for it.
I know that she's very close with her parents. Her mother is a free spirit and very encouraging and supportive. So I know that her family plays a big part of who she is and being a strong woman.
When she was at school, they had to fill in a census. And on the census, there was a question as to what ethnic group are you? And there was a box for black and there was a box for white. And she felt very strongly that if she'd chosen black or white, it would be privileging one parent over the other. So she simply didn't know what to do.
And so she left it blank and she went home and she explained to her father what she'd done. And her father said to her, "Next time that happens, Meghan, draw your own box."
I think that's a very striking story about the way in which her parents brought her up, showed her how to fight back against racism, how to fight back against categories, and they really fostered in her a love of creativity, a love of expressing herself, and encouraged her acting career.
Meghan shared her thoughts in a revealing article for Vanity Fair.
She invited me to her home. She made a fabulous lunch, laid a beautiful table, you know. She's a foodie. She was an incredibly gracious host and very warm. And she offered to put me in touch with her parents. They split up when Meghan was 2. But what's extraordinary about that is that they did raise her together. You know, so when her father would maybe have her company for the weekend and he would drop her off on Sundays, he wouldn't just drop her off in front of the house and leave. They would all sit in front of the TV, in front of their snack tables, having Sunday dinner together. So in effect, she feels like she was raised by both parents, which is a testament to them as well, you know.
Listen to this welcome.
Harry's parents also divorced. 750 million viewers had watched the wedding of the Prince and Princess of Wales. Sadly, a marriage that wasn't to last.
It is announced from Buckingham Palace that with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate.
They will continue to carry out separate public engagements, and both will play a full part in the upbringing of their children.
It was a depleted family group at church at Sandringham this morning. For the first time, Prince William and Prince Harry were without their mother on Christmas Day.
But everything was overshadowed by the tragic event in August 1997.
Within the last few moments, the Press Association in Britain, citing unnamed British sources, has reported that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died.
The death of Diana, Princess of Wales, showed the conflict of public life versus private grief that Harry has always seemed to struggle with. When the boys returned to London, they came here to Kensington Palace, facing the crowds amidst a sea of flowers. William was 15, Harry only 12.
I was at Kensington Palace when they came to view the flowers, and I was taking pictures, and we were with their father, and I was quite amazed how strong they were. At one stage, I saw Harry's face sort of crack up. Really was tough for him.
Prince Harry has channeled his trauma into good purpose around the world. Aged 19, he spent 2 months in Lesotho.
I asked friends of mine choosing where I should go for my gap year, and it was sort of based around what my mother had been doing, and I wanted to sort of carry that on. And what better place than to do it here? It's got a problem with AIDS, and there's lots of children. I'm sure she knew this place, but we decided trying to start something slightly new.
The something new was the charity Sentabale, founded in 2006.
Sentabale is important because there's still a lot of stigma around HIV. So it's really important that we create the environment conducive to people accepting their condition and better managing it without feeling embarrassed or ashamed. I've seen the kids' reaction when Harry's around. So yeah, Harry seems to have a way with the kids, man. They really take to him. He's got a jokey relationship. There's one kid, Harry gifted him some Wellington boots when he was like really young. And he's still like, holds a lot of sentimental value. So there is a personal connection which you don't always get.
We were in Lesotho. I said, Harry, this is important to you, is it? He said, it's the most important thing I've ever done.
He cares. It bothers him that some people are just dealt a raw hand. And it is important for people to know that someone in his position has that empathy.
Harry's ability to confront issues means he is hands-on, even persuading pop star Rihanna to take a live HIV test with him on World AIDS Day. He's carefully selected the charities he supports as a royal patron.
Well Child is all about the family. It's very much about getting the young person who is not well, getting them back into their home. I've seen Prince Harry with the kids at Well Child, and the kids rush up to him, joke with him, ask him the most incredible questions that we would never dare. And he's magical with them. And he understands young people. He understands families. He understands upset and hurt and pain.
Dad, wow, very nice to meet you.
He just seems so interested in people, and he's got a genuine story to tell himself.
The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and Prince Harry set up Heads Together, a merging of 8 mental health charities, working to remove stigma and showing by example that mental health issues can affect anyone.
For the first 28 years of my life, never talked about it.
Speaking to Harry, he said, I didn't speak for 20 years, and it really affected me, and I wish I had spoken earlier. I think it takes a strong person to do that. I think it takes somebody who wants to make change for the better for other people to do that, and I think he sits in that category.
People are always going at, public figures for not appearing to be themselves on TV or in interviews, and I think throughout Harry's whole life, we have seen him be entirely honest.
And Prince Harry, as a young man, did many of the things that young people do.
Yes, he had his early time of fun and partying and excess, about the same time as the average British young man is also enjoying himself.
When someone kind of bears all and shows you the good times, the bad times, that's how you get a real idea of the person. And I think that Prince Harry's, in his time, been able to have a bit of fun with it as well, and I think that's what people like about Prince Harry. It's kind of like our prince, basically. We always look and think, that's the kind of thing I'd do if I was a prince. I do feel like he's very much in touch with popular culture, and if he wasn't, how would he have met Meghan as well?
Harry is now in his 30s, and in Meghan, he seems to have found a woman he can share a future with.
What else do we know about her? She's an American, a successful actor, comfortable in the public gaze. Less known is the nature of a woman already using her status to draw attention to vital issues on a global stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, Meghan Markle.
I am proud to be a woman and a feminist.
As an ambassador for World Vision Canada, the health of youngsters has become a focus.
What's really interesting is that she was already on this path long before she met Harry.
This is the water that she's going through all this work to get. It's keeping her out of school and making her sick as well. So it's time to build some wells and make things a lot better than what we're seeing here. These girls are able to stay in school because they aren't walking hours a day to go and get water, and this clean water source has changed the entire community. So it's really cool to see.
At the United Nations, she's spoken loudly and clearly on equality.
Women need a seat at the table. They need an invitation to be seated there. And in some cases, where this isn't available, well, then you know what? Then they need to create their own table.
Her father's advice ringing in her ears, she continues to stand up for herself, including in her portrayal of Rachel Zane, the role that brought her to fame in the popular legal drama Suits.
Every script seemed to begin with, Rachel enters wearing a towel. And I said, nope, I'm not going to do that anymore. At a certain point, you feel empowered enough to just say no.
Now, she has described that as her Goldilocks role, and she said it was the role that was just right for me.
She's earned her place. Meghan studied theatre and international relations at Chicago's Northwestern University before launching her career as a model and actor.
You know, she was a theatre major, but also international relations and politics and world history was as important to her as a student. Because she struggled for a time as an actress too, you know. She took a lot of stray jobs like actors do, and, you know, she was a restaurant hostess. You know, she knows the world, you know, from the bottom up.
She's come a long way from the merely decorative early appearances, notably in the US version of the game show Deal or No Deal, before breaking into movies in a romantic comedy, Random Encounters.
My grandmother said, if you want to... Meghan just immediately made me feel comfortable. And I think from that day forward, it was like, we're friends.
I'm chasing a guy who doesn't exist.
Oh, honey, aren't we all?
Meghan's always been ambitious, and that's one thing that I loved and totally admired about her.
Why can't it be more like Pretty Woman?
You want to be a hooker on Hollywood Boulevard?
She's quick. It's fun to have conversations with her because she's quick and witty and just silly and smart.
While Meghan was building a career, so was Harry. He spent 10 years in the military, including 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan.
Roger, orange smoke now. It was my job to try and get the helicopter to land in here, get the job done, get them back on the helicopter and get them out.
He's been there, he's seen it, he's done it. So before you see His Royal Highness Prince Harry, you see the military man in him. You see actually the camaraderie. You see the team spirit.
They didn't get mortared and we didn't get mortared, so everything's fine.
It's something he's extremely passionate about. He loves being in the armed forces, he loves what they do, and he can really just be himself.
Where he was always happiest as a young man was on active duty, active service. If he was an ordinary young man, Prince Harry would be in the army now.
His time in the military came to an abrupt end when his presence was leaked in the foreign media.
And so he was heartbroken. Simply, that was the end of his active duty service. He had to come home.
Leaving the front line proved to be a defining moment.
There's 2 injured guys who came back on the plane with us, and both out cold throughout the whole of the flight. Those are guys who have been blown up by a mine. And, you know, those are the heroes.
He's very much a military man, and you see it in his work today as well. You know, what he does for the armed forces and for the charities and for the veterans.
So when are you guys going to get on?
It's really very impressive considering how young he is, how much he has done for charity.
Harry has never lost his intrepid nature. In 2011, he joined a team of injured veterans as they ventured to the North Pole.
The point of this is to raise awareness for these guys. They've been through hell, and they've come out the other side. They're doing it for all those other servicemen and women who are still coming back, injured.
He pulled us aside and said, right guys, first of all, you know, no more Prince Harry, no more Sir, you know, you call me Harry, no more formalities. And that just relaxed the whole situation from that very first moment. And he said, listen guys, I'm here for 5 days. Give me some of your extra weight because I'm happy to pull that. There was no special treatment whatsoever. He slept in a tent like we did. He had to make his own food. It takes 3 hours to melt enough ice and snow to hydrate and for your food. He had to go through that whole process as well. We shared so many stories about being in the army together, serving together, what we experienced in Afghanistan and back in the life in the UK. Just shows you what character he is and what type of guy he is, and the skills that he just naturally have.
In 2016, it was none other than Kensington Palace who confirmed the romance of Prince Harry and Meghan with an unprecedented press release issued to protect his girlfriend, Meghan Markle, from what was described as a wave of abuse and harassment.
I think it spoke very clearly about the status of their relationship.
I think it's normal for any man to want to defend their partner or want to defend the person that they love.
And you could almost hear his voice and his passion in the statement.
They felt a line had been crossed with the racial undertones of comment pieces and the outright sexism and racism of social media trolls and web article comments.
It's a cliche, this idea, you know, that someone has your back, you know, but he did, and I think she said, you know, her boyfriend made her feel safer.
It demanded privacy for the relationship to grow, and it demanded respect for her.
Why should it be controversial that someone is mixed race? Like, what is the issue?
And I just remember reading that statement and thinking, gosh, he clearly really, really loves her.
They're sort of in it together, you know? And while he's much more used to that kind of scrutiny, I think at the end of the day, they're still two people, a couple in love with each other. And everything else, all the trappings, you can't avoid them. But I don't think she's going to give up her love of life and her zest for it. And she's someone who told me, I'm not defined by any relationship I've ever been in, and this won't be an exception.
In September 2017, Meghan and Harry made their official entrance as a couple. Significantly, it was at the Invictus Games, the games set up by Harry to aid wounded servicemen and women through sport.
In London today, for the first Invictus Games, the brainchild, of course, of Prince Harry.
The admiration I have for these men and women to move beyond their injuries is limitless. You prove that anything is possible if you have the will. Welcome to the Games. Welcome to Invictus.
I mean, this is his baby. So he was just leading from the front from the beginning. It comes from within. You have to be around him to see that. He cares so passionately about people.
I knew that it was my responsibility to use the great platform that I have to help the world understand and be inspired by the spirit of those who wear the uniform.
What Invictus does is sort of just reminds you that, you know, there's that other person underneath, polishes you up and then sends you out again. That's a real mindset change, and that's completely down to Invictus.
1, 2, 3, go!
Harry pulls out all the stops to make the games memorable, even calling in favours.
From last year doing their thing, running 100 metres and all that sort of stuff. And the American man here was incredibly fast.
Quite close, isn't it?
Oh, message? Oh, from Michelle. How very amusing. So would you like to watch it together?
Yes.
Let's have a look.
Hey, Prince Harry, remember when you told us to bring it at the Invictus Games?
Careful what you wish for.
You know, he came up with the concept, and how fantastic.
Oh, really? Please.
Boom.
Well, the world's press got what they wished for when Harry turned up with Meghan.
Clearly she came to the tennis, which was fantastic, because again, the crowds were there. They added something, you know, special.
There is that spark when he is with her, and that's important.
At the closing ceremony, she was in a box, and he went in to see her in the box, and there was a little cheeky kiss captured. I don't think that kiss was for the cameras, but it was captured.
Prince Harry.
I am tremendously honored to be UN Women's advocate for political participation and leadership.
And don't forget that you are proving to the world that anything is possible.
If anyone is up to marrying the public and private and still present an authentic self, I think it's Meghan Markle.
I think they have a lot in common, actually, and I think it's that passion and desire to help.
I think Harry's got such a personality and such drive and such kindness.
I perceive Meghan to be an amazing talent. You know, she's a catch.
Duchess Meghan. I think that's amazing. I mean, it's a fairy tale. It really is.
It just brings that kind of good feeling back, isn't it? That, you know, anything is still possible and magic can happen.
This is a modern love story between two young people, but at the same time, there is something so entrancing about Hollywood to Princess.
She could almost be our window into that world now. And I think that's how a lot of people probably see her.
Both in their 30s and clearly very much in love. But what does this young couple from very different worlds have in common as they embark on the next extraordinary chapter of their lives together?
Finally, the world's worst-kept secret is out. The eligible bachelor, Prince Harry, is engaged to marry American actor Meghan Markle. Having met in 2016, their relationship is relatively new.
They've both got a bit of life experience. They've had quite a lot of opportunity to discover who they are as people. And then they've come together as a couple and met each other on those terms.
They seem to understand each other and each other's lifestyles and the commitments of both sides. And once you have that understanding, that's wonderful. So yeah, he's ready.
It was in September 2017 at the Invictus Games in Toronto that the couple stepped out officially, leaving no doubt of their romance.
I think it spoke volumes about who they are and how they plan to go about their life together. It looked casual, it looked relaxed, it looked happy, it looked normal, and that's not something you see every day with